down to a minimum. Right. So I'm here tonight with Luke Ursell from Movements Personal Training. Here we are, fill the stage. So Luke is a lifelong friend of mine, known him for years. We raced motocross. Many years ago, didn't we? When did we would have been, teenagers, really.
We had like a grudge match in like 2007, and we weren't friends for
we weren't friends.
Like 2 years after
and literally,
that.
Your dad threatened to shit on my pillow. We'll go in, we can go.
We don't need to talk.
We can go into that. So me and Luke had a little bit of a fallout, and his dad was going to come and shit on my bed, but yeah.
While he was in it.
While I was in it. But yeah, so me and Luke raced when we were younger. There's always a little bit of a rivalry. I think it's hard when you're trying to maintain a friendship and like competitive edge as well. I like it. It's like healthy.
It's like that. You know when you're at work and you don't like your coworker and it's kind of under the surface. But when you're racing and when you're like competing with someone, it's like I don't like. You know full well I'm going to take you out if you give me a chance.
Yeah, it was good.
But then it's like a mutual like I know that you would as well.
Yeah, no, it was good fun. I think like when we was racing when we was younger, it was definitely intense at times, wasn't it? But Luke, when I left, obviously, when I went on to do what I did when I sort of left school and all that sort of stuff, you went and followed you firstly went into construction with your dad, didn't you?
Oh, it was easy.
Yeah. Soon.
Well, the work wasn't easy, but it was easy.
Yeah, you fell out of love with it though, didn't you? And then it was a passion for the arts of strength and conditioning.
Yeah, well, I loved racing, but I wasn't like many of us. I was half decent, but was never going to make money.
Yeah.
You have to be really good for that. And I think people don't appreciate how good that level is.
Yeah, it is literally a fine line.
Yeah, you go to a club meeting and you think you're pretty good, and then you do some, you dabble in an amateur national.
It isn't just the speed though, is it? It's everything that comes with it, like the attitude, the training. To find someone who's actually going to make money out of it needs to be fast. They need to have the social medias dialed. They need to be fit. Yeah. They need to be focused. Like that's where you get that tiny 1%ers, isn't it?
And I think that's the bit that people struggle with is like the social media stuff. Like you say, if you want to be a pro athlete, you've got to run yourself like a business.
A business, yeah.
I mean, you used to get more sponsorships than guys that would lap you.
It's true. It's true.
Someone would turn up and he'd have like a free bike.
I did actually get a free bike.
It's just because you better. Like
I was always good at talking to people, wasn't I? And I always tried to big up my social presence, even from a young age. I mean, don't even be afraid of if you're a kid out there and you get taken the piss out of for doing it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You got to do it. It's part of the game.
I mean, now I'm a business owner. And I don't necessarily want the guy that's winning. Yeah. I want someone who's going to sell more of my product.
Yeah.
And if there's a kid with a bit of an attitude, but
a
cocky little kid that walks around and talks to everyone, and
that's
everyone's
great.
Talking about them.
It sells.
I want him.
Yeah, no, very true. 100% true. Oh, we're getting the lungs and stuff. No, but that's 100% true. And I think people sort of can be led down false paths with that, can't they? Like, you just need to be this area, you just need to be this area, but there's so much that builds a good motocross.
You get the other way where people talk like they're going to win a title.
Yeah, there's the fine balance. There's the fine balance, isn't there?
There is
so let's go into what you do then at Movement Personal Training, what the facility's like, what you've got down there. So it's based in Derby.
Yeah, so we're in Derby. Basically, at the end of the last lockdown, I saw a bit of an opportunity. I'd been kind of collecting kit. I'd bought quite a bit of stuff over the years. I was renting some space off someone else, and then I saw this opportunity to, be my own boss and start my own thing. So we did that, took the jump, populated it with equipment, and we have clients from all walks of life. I've got general middle-aged men and women looking to lose a few pounds. All the way up to your pro athletes. I have looked after the motocross guys over the years.
Spinksy, so Josh
Spinksy.
Worked with Josh for a long time, Luke Burton as well.
Yeah, I worked with Luke for a few years.
So you got a few titles with Luke, didn't you?
Yeah, I think we won every title that I worked with him. Yeah. So any title he went for the years I trained him. I think he's still doing really well now.
He's still flying.
I just don't.
I think he's being a dad. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you just got to. Yeah, I'm a dad as well. So.
Yeah, I haven't kept up.
We'll get Luke on.
And
talk to him at some point.
So I set this facility up and made sure it had the stuff that I needed to train the guys, and like I say, motocross guys, but not just that. I've worked in. I've got a professional boxer at the minute that we're hoping to go for a bit of a title fight this year. So that'll be his 4th professional fight, which is quite cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's really quite cool. I've looked after hockey players trying to come to me now, and just some other sports.
Doing a bit with Howard Wainwright at the minute.
Yeah, so Howie's I haven't really posted anything about it yet.
No.
But Howie came in, did some tests with him last week, and
he's a good kid, isn't he?
Oh, he's puked every session. I hope he doesn't let me say it.
I'll share it out for him. Don't worry.
Yeah, but it's.
I think he's someone who it needs to happen now, doesn't it? Like this season for him is really crucial.
Potentially, yeah, but at the same time, you don't want to put.
And he's never going to be a world champion. It's like he's got to gradually build his way up, and progress from youth.
Yeah, I think. Well, the interesting thing is our perception of what kids should be doing at a certain age is so skewed, and I love this research, and there is tons of research, and I was in a Facebook argument the other day, so I did some research for this.
I know what you're going at. So this is kids lifting weights, isn't it?
Not just kids lifting. So one kid's lifting weights. It amazes me that everyone's like, "Oh, you shouldn't lift weights until you're 16." Guy can swear, right?
Yeah,
it's bullshit. Yeah. There's no credible evidence to say that kids shouldn't lift weights, and motocrossers should lift weights. And
I was always one of them people who was like, no. If I touch that, I'm going to get arm pump.
Well,
I'm not touching that. I'm not touching that.
This is the thing with strength, and we'll get back onto the kids thing in a minute. But if you are, and don't get me wrong, there's two ends of the spectrum, right? If you do just purely weightlifting and loads of lifting in absence of any cardio, then yeah, you're going to pump up. You're not going to have any cardio, but the guys go the opposite way as well. Because those guys that were always cycling, and nothing else, they're always the guys that get injured.
Yeah.
Because they don't have.
They're just doing base fitness, but no strength.
I mean, this is how I explain it to people, right? Let's say we have since I finished motocross, I've packed on the pounds and I basically lift weights now. But that's not the way I train on my motocrosses. Yeah. But you think about it. Let's say we both lift weights, right? Yeah. My 1 rep max is 100 kilos. Let's say your 1 rep max is 200 kilos. We'll say you're stronger than me.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I like that.
Okay, so you are twice as strong as I am.
Yeah.
We put 100 kilos on both of our backs and we say, right, rep it as many times as you can. My 1 rep max is 100 kilos, so I get 1 rep.
Yeah.
That is 50% of your max. So you will probably rep that out 15 to 20 times.
Yeah.
So, maximal strength has helped your endurance.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what people don't get. They think, but if I'm
okay,
strong,
yeah, no,
do you see what I mean?
Yeah, no, actually, yeah.
And people don't see that.
I haven't thought about it like that.
Yeah, you are working at a lower percentage of your maximum capacity when you raise the maximum capacity.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you shouldn't do the long distance and the cardio.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that needs to play part. It's like maximal speed. If you have two footballers running at 8 meters per second, if they're both running at 8 meters per second, one guy, his max speed is 10 meters per second, then he's running at 80% of his max speed.
Yeah.
The other guy's max speed is 9 meters per second. I can't do the maths fast enough in my head, but he's running at a higher percentage, so he's going to wear out faster.
That's clever.
So you've actually increased someone's endurance by doing stuff that, short bursts, high intensity work that you didn't think would help them. And this is the misconception. Guys are like, if I lift weights, I'll be a big bodybuilder. It's like, no, bodybuilding is different
to strength building.
Strength, yeah. Like actual strength is characterized as the maximal force produced.
What's been your best one rep max on a squat?
On a squat?
Because I know you was pretty into that.
I got into my lifting for a while. I did a 210 kilo squat.
That ain't no joke, is it? That's bar bending shit.
But I was more. I was prouder of my clean and jerk, which was 150, which isn't quite as heavy, but that is taking the bar from the floor up to your shoulders, overhead. So I was more proud of that. That was quite cool.
Yeah,
so I got into my weightlifting after I realised motocross wasn't going to happen for a while. So I'm not the typical shape of a motocross athlete.
No. And I think you realised that, didn't you? And thought, well, what am I actually good at? And that drove a passion, didn't it?
Yeah,
for that.
I love lifting. It's not got the same buzz as motocross, but it's cheaper.
Yeah, it's a lot cheaper. I wanted to ask you something about this the other day. From some training I was doing the other day, and I wanted to ask a personal trainer, and I think I've got the concept right. But I wanted to go into... So me and Tommy, Tommy Searle, we were both training on the Peloton bike together that I obviously love and I rave about. And Luke's encouraged me to do my base training on that and then come to you and do the strength training. So my wattage is similar to Tommy's, right? And he was a bit pissed off about this. This is our our FTP is similar. And I said to him, but the thing is, if we were out on the road on actual real bikes, you would smoke me. Because you are 70 kilograms, I'm 100 kilograms.
So
this is where people don't like you. All you need to be worried about are your numbers, like not.
It's absolutely
not mine.
It's crossover. So I'm the same. I'm a big guy. I've got powerful legs. You put me on a static bike, and I can power out the water. I got into my rowing for the last couple of years. Like rowing on a machine. I haven't actually been on the water, but indoor rowing is a sport. And I was putting down some good numbers.
Where was you? Because you get close to winning a title, like
it was
competition
like an online
thing.
Competition. It was just for fun. There wasn't.
Come on, let everyone know your numbers. I want to hear it. Look, he's too shy.
It's not bad. 2K was 6.5 minutes. I mean, there are people out there better than this.
Yeah, of course.
5K was 18 minutes, and
that's disgusting.
My best 10K.
So disgusting.
I can't remember my best 10K. I think it was about 38 minutes. But to be fair to myself, with the 10K, we had a rate restriction. So obviously, it's when people with a row machine, they don't get that. Like just pulling faster doesn't help. You've got it does, but you've got to create more power in each pull.
Yeah, okay. So you've taught me this.
10K. So
your like doing the explosive pulls, haven't you, and then
pull,
going back. Yeah.
4, 3, 2, 1, pull.
And you do that, and sometimes you can actually do better, can't you? Especially for me,
if you teach proper technique, because some people
more
actually
power.
struggle with the technique on a room.
Technique is massive, even in cycling and everything. And motocross, technique is such a massive thing. But I think to get technique, you need to be strong.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first thing when people ask me about arm pump, and they're like, "There's a myth."
Arm pump. So if anyone's watching, Luke's going to go into arm pump a little bit.
I mean, it's
a big one for everybody, isn't it?
What's happening is you're doing this a lot, right? And when you do this a lot, the muscles fatigue. We get metabolites build up, and then the signal from the nervous system can't get through, and then you get the burn, which people. It's actually not lactic acid that makes your muscles burn, but I think that's a myth the fitness industry will never get rid of. It's what we say, but it's not really lactic acid. Yeah. But anyway, so the metabolites build up and the muscles fatigue. And there's that myth, isn't there? That if you work your forearms, then they'll pump up more.
Yeah.
It's not technically true. Better grip will help arm pump. But if you use that new grip, that newfound grip strength, just to grip even harder, then they'll fatigue faster. So
it's the same thing, and but that comes back to technique
on the bike.
Technique,
won't stop that.
Technique, hydration, and there's many things into
technique,
this.
Maybe like sports massage. If you've got like hypertrophy of the muscle and it's expanded, and the fascial bag that it sits in.
Yeah, because that's what people have cut open, right?
Yeah. So without getting too in depth, it's your muscles are like bags within bag. You've got the myofilaments, the myofibril of the muscle that's wrapped in a fascial bag, and then that's bundled together. It's wrapped in a fascial bag,
right.
and it's imagine like an orange. You've got a little orange drop of juice, and then that's wrapped in a little drop, and then a segment, and then the grind, and so that's how you have these like fascial bags. And if the muscle grows at a faster rate than the fascial bag doesn't expand as quickly, so it can get trapped and blood struggles to get out. And if it gets really bad, it can cause a condition called compartment syndrome, which is actually life-threatening. But so it's quite complicated. But the biggest thing for arm pump, I think, is technique on the bike. Number one, get some sports massage on your forearms. Loosen those muscles off. So technique.
The forearm strong are actually pretty good. I don't know if you've seen one. They actually work, but I mean, I know you do it in a different way, don't you? But the same. You can demonstrate.
Yeah, what it is, because
we're both COVID secure. We've both had tests.
So I teach sports massage. I forgot to mention this earlier. I teach for a company called the Sports Massage Academy, and I go around the country teaching. I was in Birmingham today. I was in Bournemouth the other week. I've lectured a couple of unis. I'm not a lecturer. There's a legal legal definition in that name, but I have lectured at a university. So
this is for dads who want to help their kids with arm pump.
So the arm strong, I think it's cool because it's a technique we call soft tissue release, in where as a sports massage therapist, I would pin the muscle down so that all the muscles that create flexion of the fingers actually attach here. So I would pin those muscles down. I'd shorten the muscle, pin it down, and then I would actually stretch everything out. And what I'm doing is I'm creating a restriction here. So I'm kind of drawing the muscle through under the pin.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm also helping, I'm trying to find the best way of making this as simple as I can. Reducing the muscle tone, we'll call it, through a process that we call autogenic feedback. So it's reducing the tightness in the area, so it's not already partly fatigued when you get on the bike.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
yeah.
I think it's a really good.
It's a good system. It's really easy to use, isn't it? You can wind it on, put the pressure in. I'm going to go mute this laptop for a second.
Is that comments or something?
Yeah, quite possibly. It's very, very irritating though. So
a bidding.
here we are. Yeah, whatever. I may have done it, may have not done it.
I mean, the last time I've done a few through some research, some cadaver dissections, and the last time I did one, it's a little bit gross, but
what, you actually cut open the?
Yeah, we've done 2 or 3 of them now, and I took out the thing I wanted to look at was the arm, and if you ever meet me in real life, we could fill a 3-hour block. I could talk for a whole day on just the forearm. It's
really
bloody complicated. So I took this whole arm back to my bench. And
oh my God! Sorry. What? So a dead person's arm?
Yeah, like it's in a proper lab, and I was at a university. It's not.
That's just mad. Yeah, I just found an arm. Now that's crazy.
What next weekend?
Want to go look at dead people?
No, it was in a proper lab and all that. But yeah, this is just. No wonder people get confused about the forearm because it's just so. And where it splits off in the different tendons, it's
we
really
are
complicated.
Actually the most complex organism, aren't we?
I've been studying anatomy for 8 years, and I still don't get it.
We're crazy. We work on, and our brains work on electronic signals. We're almost like a robot with, like a bio robot. It's crazy, isn't it?
Go down to the microscopic level.
Crazy. It scares me. It's like a whole.
Without being cocky, I've done things in universities. I've done cadaver dissections. I've taught courses around the country, and when people come out of, and I don't mean to sound mean, I think it's amazing when you get these new personal trainers that have just qualified and they want to make that difference. I love that. I do love their enthusiasm, but when they come out thinking they know everything about anatomy, I'm like,
yeah, don't.
I know nothing.
Yeah,
so you're gonna struggle.
This is a mad thing. People think know a small amount, don't they? And then that can.
It's got a name. It's called. I won't go into it. Yeah. If you want to Google it, it's called the Dunning-Kruger effect, and basically people with a smaller amount of knowledge have more confidence than those because you realise how much knowledge is out there. So you think that you know everything, and then over time. You're confident, like 2013.
Kind of like anti-vaxxers.
Let's not go into that.
Let's stay away from that one. But it is.
Yeah,
it is,
you have a little amount of knowledge, and the more knowledge you get, the less confident you get. So the loudest people in every industry shouting about how much they know are usually know very little.
Yeah, no.
And then as they get more experience, they're like, I did it. I was releasing YouTube videos in 2013. I thought I knew everything, and now I look back, I'm like, oh, I knew nothing.
I try and every time something pops up from when I was like that sort of age, I'm like, right, delete. Because if I ever I don't know where like my life's going to take me. I don't know where my career's going to take me. Obviously, I've started doing some media stuff now with MX Nationals and things like that. I don't want this stuff being seen by people. You know what you see, like
exactly the
same. Don't even YouTube me, guys. Like serious. I don't.
I remember when you were doing the Facebook pranks. I won't go into it and embarrass you because you've got just as much ammo on me as I have.
Yeah, let's not go there.
I won't go into it.
I just think, what were you doing? That's probably someone piping up now. Saying,
I remember.
Yeah. So. What would you like to give people? What would you make? Because obviously I brought you on here tonight. We've been friends for a long time. You obviously got movement personal training. It's a big passion of yours, isn't it? Like what would you say to like young kids coming through? What would you like to say to parents to educate their children? Would you
this is what I wanted to go back to when we talked about the youth stuff earlier, and then we got on a bit.
Yeah, we went on a tangent.
Do you know we did really well in the last Olympics? Now it's not the only reason, but one of the reasons that Great Britain did as well as they did is because they changed how they picked athletes. Okay.
Right, okay.
So some kids just develop better than others. When I was 12 years old, I was a big kid. I was like an adult.
I was the opposite. I was like pubescent.
So
like I was very.
You
Very
think about it. If a kid, kids have different development ages. Their actual
that means you're going to die quicker than me as well.
I don't know.
You've burned out.
I hope not.
I hope you.
Probably.
I hope that's correct.
But, so we used to pick athletes on, right, that kid's winning at 10 years old, let's pick him for the national team. But there were kids that were underdeveloped, and then by the time they hit a growth spurt, they were actually better. They were better. And what
you see that a lot in motocross.
Youth athletics doesn't cross over to adult athletics anywhere near as much as you'd think.
Yeah.
How does a 10-year-old play rugby?
Completely different.
He gives it to the big kid.
Yeah.
And he's like, give it to the big kid. And then the big kid that's like...
You.
When I used to play rugby...
you were the big kid.
Wow, there was a kid bigger than me, and they used to take his birth certificate because he was like a 30-year-old man with a beard. I'm 10 years old. People are dragging off his heels, and I remember my dad said to me, like, you got to take him out, and I did, and that's another story. But and that's how they play rugby. So they don't learn how rugby. They don't learn the tactics. They don't learn the ins
and that
outs.
one big guy will then go into a team, and then there'll be loads of other big guys that will go.
What it tends to do is builds their confidence.
Yeah.
Most athletes are born in September. Do you know why?
Why?
When you're 10 years old and you're born in September, you're the oldest. You're nearly a year older than the rest of your year group.
Well, this is Cooper, my kid. We've been looking at schools and stuff, and we're like, oh, hang on, we've got like 4 years.
So what happens is,
yes, you're gonna be a champ, boy.
What happens is they're like, if kids are 10 years old, that kid who's nearly a year older than his peers is 10% older than the rest of his class.
Yeah,
that's a lot in development age at 10 years old.
Yeah.
So they beat everyone.
Probably at motocross as well, because they're going to be always at the top.
They just have this confidence because they beat everyone. And then when they get in their 20s, everyone's caught up.
And I was a January kid, so that's probably I was a year behind.
Yeah, you were the kids that were. It's well documented. So what they do now is they put kids in development ages. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. Yeah. So instead of being like, this is in
athletics.
Yeah, and this is what we probably should do. Motocross is different, but
it's very difficult.
Not age related.
No, not really. No.
But what they do is instead of kids being of the same age to group together, they're the same development age. And they do this in rugby now.
Okay.
So let's say you have, we all know the 15-year-old that started shaving. And there are some 16-year-olds that actually have the development age of a 13-year-old.
Yeah, I was like that.
Yeah, so what would happen is, we're not the same age, but let's say we're the same age. Yeah. I would actually be playing up with kids 2 years older than me, and you'd probably be playing down with kids 2 years younger than you, because your development age is the same.
Because I was really small at school, really small. I think I only started puberty probably when I was year 10, which is really late. Yeah. But that's like...
I
now,
seeing you at 25 and being like, you started going to theatre.
But like now, I'm not ashamed about saying that. But when I was a kid, that's a mad thing, isn't it? Like,
it is.
It's a bit of a
shaving when I was like,
and you probably had an anxiety about that as well. So we probably both had anxiety. So we're like, where is my hair?
Like,
and you're going,
why do I have chest hair?
It's coming out of everywhere.
Freakish.
You freak.
If you'd have seen me at 12 years old, you'd have said this kid is going to be 7 feet, because I was like just touching 6 foot.
It's mad, and then you just stopped.
But I stopped. I never got any taller.
Well, we started smoking, didn't we? No, I'm joking.
What I did is I lifted weights and it stunted my growth.
Yeah.
That is total bullshit. Weights do not stunt your growth. In fact, that's the
Neither does smoking. No, I'm joking.
Maybe
it's a joke. I've never actually smoked. But.
So the weightlifting thing's interesting because they did loads of studies on this, and there is tons of documentation. And if you want to have an argument with me, we can talk about it. But I've got citations backing me up.
Yeah.
The whole thing about kids shouldn't lift weights is total crap. In fact,
it should be controlled, though, shouldn't it? I think you've got to.
That's the same. The
thing is with it, this is the thing with me. So because I'm really inexperienced with weightlifting, when I go to the gym, I get quite anxious over it, and I don't like being in that area, and this is why I like doing a little bit with you, because then it gives me the understanding of how to do it correctly and not look like a dickhead. If I'm, because it does. You go in there and you think, oh God, Jesus, it's intimidating. These men are big.
There are a lot of big men that look like dickheads.
So this is what. So people need to probably find advice in somebody like yourself, to know how to do it properly and without injuries and things like that, which is so important, isn't it?
If you have a kid, it's one of those things that someone will be like, well, I was 14, I lifted a weight and I hurt myself, therefore kids shouldn't lift weights. And it's like, well, if you had bad technique and you lifted too heavy too soon, it doesn't matter whether you're 14 or 25 or 35 or 55, you're still going to get hurt.
Yeah.
So it should be done correctly. But when you look at the forces involved at lifting, honestly, when you look into the research, it's hilarious that we tell kids not to lift.
Yeah, even in school and stuff.
Running,
like you're not allowed to the gym until you're like 50. They won't let you in the gym. So why not? Why are they not educating? It's bizarre, isn't it?
It's insurance. It drives the world round. They're worried about.
Well, I work in insurance,
getting sued, and that kind of thing. So look at the running. Running, every step you take can be up to 3 times your body weight in force.
Yeah.
Okay. You're an 80 kilo. I'm going to need a calculator for this, but I do this in my class all the time. You're an 80 kilo runner. That's a standard man, right?
Yeah.
Every step is 3 times your body weight in force. There are 2,000 steps in a mile. Then there are 6 miles in a 10K. That's right.
Yeah.
And then when you do the maths, if you do the maths at home, I usually do this. I get people to do it on a calculator in front of me, so they see it, and it's like 1,000,000 kilos of force per leg. Over 1,000,000 kilos of force that
to
your
run a
ankles
10K.
and your knees have to endure to run a 10K. And then we're saying shit like, oh, that kid shouldn't deadlift 50 kilos.
Yeah. Makes no sense.
What?
Yeah.
It's hilariously bad.
I've heard this for years. I mean, I was even told it. We was told when we was kids, don't do that. Don't lift the weights because you'll hurt yourself.
Yeah.
It's more the fact that you didn't know how to do it.
That's the biggest thing, and I think most PE teachers don't know how to do it.
A lot of them wouldn't do, would they?
So that's probably more to do with
If anybody wants to inbox us or inbox Luke about technique and stuff, you'd be more than happy to run through things with people.
Yeah, I mean, the technique's the biggest thing. But kids, when they're at that...
Well, you've got me doing movements in the gym.
Yeah.
Don't even involve weights, haven't we? So we've been doing we're not static. We've been doing the actual movements, but with really light weight.
Yeah,
to get me, because we all know every time I injure myself like that, don't I?
And I've been telling. I hope you don't mind. I've been telling you this stuff for years, and then we're at a point where all the muscles are tight, and if we try and load it up, it's boom. Injury.
It's straight away.
It's stripping it back.
We was in. I was in the gym the other day. The monkey bars. Because I'm never gonna forget it. So Luke goes, no, I'm not going to tell it wrong. I'm going to tell it correctly. There's some monkey bars. Luke turns to me and says these words, "Can you do the monkey bars?" Now, if anybody asks me if I can do anything or do something, the answer is always yes, because I've always gone on the prehense that there's no such thing as you can't do it. So I'm like, yes, of course I can do it. And I jumped up there with all the confidence in the world and impinged my shoulder.
I'm gonna name drop a little bit now because I've got a funny story about monkey bars.
Okay.
This isn't just a big up, but a few years ago, me and my friend went to America, and it was really cool. We met Travis Pastrana out there, and we went to his house. And I remember you're talking about monkey bars.
Yeah.
We climbed up this big thing that he had. And then he was like, right, we're going to do some monkey bars. And I remember being like, this guy's my hero. I've grown up watching his films.
Yeah.
And you had to jump for the first monkey bar. So if you went, you couldn't go back. And I remember jumping on the first monkey bar, looking down and being like, oh,
was
shit.
it in a shed or something?
No. You had to climb up his half pipe, and then he had monkey bars. Then you jumped for them.
What?
This was like a 20, 30-foot drop. And I remember just being like, oh.
No.
Just dangling up there like,
can someone get a lift? Can we get a cherry picker?
I did it because in my head I remember being like, "This guy's my hero. If I'm on the airplane with a broken leg, I don't care." So I'm on these monkey bars, my forearms are tearing because I hadn't done them since I was 10. And you had to go onto these other bars and then down on the floor. It was quite cool.
No, did it hurt?
Oh yeah, it hurt.
And you actually did a backflip, didn't you?
I did it in the foam pit. I did a backflip
this
in the foam
athlete
pit.
of a man has done a backflip into Travis Pastrana's foam pit.
Yeah.
That's cool, mate. That's the coolest thing.
You get there, right? So you get there. It was my friend Bob won a competition and with DC shoes, and then he took me, so that was quite cool. He's like, "You could take a friend."
Yeah.
So I owe a lot to Bob. So if he's watching this, thank you. So he was there with us, and I don't know. There's you get there, and there's these dudes just with beer bellies drinking at 10 a.m. and everyone's just done a backflip. there's some like hillbilly there that's just like wandered in who chills out with him daily, and he's like, oh yeah, I did a backflip, and he's there drinking beer, and he's like, shit. So you just you feel like the odd one out. So it was really weird. It didn't at the time. It didn't feel hardcore because everyone's done it. Like there's like some guy.
It gives you that confidence.
It's like, oh yeah, I did that. And you're like, oh well, okay, I'll just do it then. And there's one thing about doing a backflip. It's really bloody easy. You just need balls. You just lean back, and that's it.
Brody, you listening to this?
Brody hates me because I'm always like, when did you first do a backflip? I mean, to be fair, I've never done it.
Hang on, we'll get Brody on one night.
And it was on a pit bike, and Brody he's fucking awesome.
Brody is good. He is good.
I can't take it away from him.
We'd probably better wrap this up because we need to give away this Husqvarna in a minute. I don't know how long we've been talking for.
It's like 6.
Yeah, it's time's flew. If anybody wants to get any tips, any training advice, DM Luke or DM us and we can put you in touch with him. And it's been great to have you in, mate. And hopefully we can catch up in, I don't know, a couple of months' time, see how Howard Wainwright's getting on. Yeah. I think I'll probably just, if you're more just to steal it for 5 more minutes. Yeah, steal it.
I kind of want, when I wanted to come on, I wanted people to actually be able to be like, oh, that'll help me. I think with training, there's too many people that do random training. They just turn up in the gym, they're like, what shall I do today? Or they do the same thing every day. And I think one of the it doesn't have to be complicated, just pick a test. So I like the 2,000 meter row. I like the FTP. You like the FTP. Yeah. All great tests. Yeah. And then you've got a benchmark to measure against. And there's so many people that claim to know loads about training that don't do that. And it's really simple stuff. I like the Cooper test, which is 12 minutes on a treadmill, and then your score is the distance. I didn't like that. No. I did not like that when we did that. From that, we can calculate VO2 max. We can get all. Yeah, but I didn't like those figures either. No, I didn't like anything that you told me about that day. Basically, Callum, you fat. It was a sit down like this in his office and goes, "You're obese." And it's like, oh. I don't think it worked like that. But yeah, I'm usually a bit more. I'm joking. A bit nicer than that. Cool. Yeah. Cool. Right. You happy? Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy. Good. Yeah. Good night. That was good.